Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. This is our webinar, Mexico Investors and Connectors. And today we have some great guests from Mexico helping us to understand a little bit more about the startup ecosystem in Mexico. This month, Mexico is in the spotlight. So we are putting together several events, webinars, LatAm chats, and a meetup, especially here in Toronto, to actually help our community to understand a little bit more how is to be part of this startup ecosystem in Mexico. So once we started, we're going to start with some of our guests while the others are connecting in the process. And right now we have Adriana Tortajada, and we have Fabiana Aguilar from Angels Ventures in Mexico. And please let us know your questions and comments through contact@latamstartups.biz. And you also can send us your comments and questions through the hashtag LatAmStartups. So let's start with the first question. Thank you so much for our guests today. And the first question will be, how you describe the startup ecosystem in Mexico, and what are the main features? And I like to start with Adriana. What do you think about that, Adriana?
I have so many good news, like you said. Thank you for the invitation. We are more than glad to join us to this great initiative. And running the National Entrepreneurship Institute, we are a great platform to attract all the good things that are happening in our country. And mainly, we have the first, Mexican startup that really raised a huge, amount of money in Silicon Valley, validating all the opportunities that are happening in our country, in our ecosystem. It's a young ecosystem, but thank you to all the public policy that are taking in place with the merging of the National Entrepreneurship Institute, that now we have the opportunity to showcase what are doing all the actors of the ecosystem and give them this visibility. I guess the most important thing that is happening right now is that we have a platform to really show all the performance that our strategic alliance, the other actors from the academic sector, the investors, all the strategic partners, the corporation, of course, all the entrepreneurs are doing and are performing so well. We are doing great strategics around the country as well through the Alianza del Pacífico partnership. We are launching funds at the region. We are helping to emerge new VC seed funds in Mexico. And we are deploying a lot of money in high-impact entrepreneurs that are helping to transform our economy. So those are the good news that are happening in Mexico. And our first-time funds, first-time fund manager are happening to, are attracting more money from Europe, from other regions to the region. Not only for Mexico, for the region. So we are, becoming like a bridge to all the community with North America and Latin America. And I guess that's a very good news for the entire ecosystem at the LatAm.
Awesome! Thank you so much, Adriana. That's really good news for people that didn't know about Mexico and what is going on right now. So I like to pass the question as well to Fabian. How do you describe the ecosystem? You work with an investor fund in Mexico, and that's really key for the market. How do you describe the ecosystem right now, Fabian? Fabian, you have the microphone mute.
Hello?
Yeah. Now you're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so, well, first of all, thank you, Miriam, for the invitation. I would like to also point out as well that we are right now in Mexico, particularly, we're in the best time for entrepreneurs to seek out investment. And there are two main reasons for that. I can tell you that from a macro level, I think it's certainly Mexico living a prosperous moment when it comes to private equity and venture capital investments. So additionally, economic stability, strong industrial and manufacturing sectors, historic government reforms also, and pension funds who have increased their active participation in private equity firms, have made last year, 2015, a record year in capital commitments and investment capital. From the investor side, I can tell you that we are really happy to be investors here right now in Mexico City for two reasons. One is particularly entrepreneurs. I think that the Mexican young population have turned out for the bird and said, look, we do not want to work for the private and really big corporations anymore because we think that we can ourselves start creating something new. And this comes obviously from our neighbor, United States, that has increasingly generated a lot of startups across the world. So I think that part of the way that the United States has, for some reason, given us the whole spectrum of industries and startups has led the Mexican entrepreneurs to start out their own startups. And additionally, the current macroeconomic conditions of the country have led also for the supply side for entrepreneurs, which is obviously committed capital and investment and smart money capital, had increased a lot. And I can tell you that in the past 5 years, from venture capital and private equity funds have doubled. So you are talking about 20.9% average growth rate from 2010 to 2015. So I think we're in the best time right now. Also, there are another economic and macroeconomic forces, like Adriana says, such as the Pacific Alliance partnership, and also the regulatory and fiscal and financial compliance frameworks that the country has generated in the past 5 years.
Buen día.
Hi there, Luis.
Hi, Luis. I
Yeah.
just got connected. You see, the problem was that I didn't have a Google account. I'm sorry, but I'm here now.
Don't worry, Luis. Luis is part of the lot in Mexico. Thank you so much for joining us today. Fabian actually was just finishing up the first question that we have about the startup ecosystem in Mexico. Luis, I'm not sure if you are located in Mexico City or you are in another city in Mexico.
No, I am in Guadalajara, which is in the western part of the country.
Perfect. Awesome. So, Luis, I'd like to have your opinion over what kind of startup ecosystem you guys have in Guadalajara. You know, how do you describe the startup ecosystem there? Adriana and Fabian already gave us some first insights of what is going on in the country. How do you describe the ecosystem in Guadalajara in specific?
Sure. Well, I was with the people from the MIT, from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, back in February. I was with them because I've been an invited professor with them. And we were in Pachuca, in the state of Hidalgo, which is south of Mexico City. And they told us that they were amazed of the amount of companies, institutions, governmental aids that are taking a lot of work of a lot of the entrepreneurship ecosystem in their hands in Jalisco. Guadalajara is the capital city of Jalisco, because they couldn't understand how fast had it arose, and they were surprised that we had so many help from so many different parts. And I hadn't realized that until they told me so. And when I came back to Guadalajara, I started talking to a lot of people, and yes, I could confirm that there is not one or two or three different aids, but a lot of aids from so many institutions. See, there's even a chamber, an information technology chamber here, which is called Canieti, which I just discovered yesterday, that they also have an entrepreneurship aiding part of that institution. So that is as referred to one specific chamber, but there are a lot of chambers in Guadalajara, and they are all of them giving a lot of help to the entrepreneurs. But then there's also the government, even in ADEM, which I know that we have our inviters here from in ADEM, and we also have a lot of help from what we call pupil associations like Coparmex, and in my belief, it has arose very, very rapidly, but at this point, I would say kind of chaotic. So we're trying to get some order into it now. What I mean is that we are all of this are getting together in the next 2 or 3 months to try to organize it and be helpful for all the entrepreneurs so that they know exactly what the path is like from the moment that they are born until the moment that we believe that we can release them and let them live for their own.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Luis. Now, just as a reminder, while we talk, just please mute your microphone when you are not speaking so we don't have noise behind. So thank you so much for those insights. It's really good to know about Guadalajara in general. And now I'd like to pass to the next question is about the diverse ecosystem we have in Mexico. And actually, Luis gave us a very good insights what is happening in Guadalajara, and this is very important to understand to the audience that it's not just about Mexico City, it's around Mexico that are also developing new startups. So I'm going to start the next question with Adriana again, and I'd like to know from the INADEM perspective, what are the other cities that are actually booming up with the startups, and how are those ecosystems developed?
Yeah, thank you. I want to underline that Mexico is the largest economy, the second largest economy in the region. So everything cannot just happen in Monterrey, Mexico City, and Guadalajara. And of course, Guadalajara is taking the leadership for many reasons that I want to underline after. But what is really important is what is happening in our borders. Really, in Merida, Yucatan is happening a huge movement because mainly for all the human resources and the talent that it's helping to, bring another startups to raise the enterprise there. And of course, Tijuana, and of course, Monterrey, but on the main vision of MEGA regions with North America as well. We have a different sister cities path, like Cali Baja zone from San Diego to Tijuana, with all the things that are happening in California and Baja. And of course, any other cities that are around mainly manufacturing, basis companies, large companies, and of course at the center of the Mexican country as well. And what are they doing so well? For example, Ciudad Juárez, Chihuahua, that is known for many reasons others than the startups community, that they're doing a lot of summits and showcase and platform. They're linked with all the actors, and we have a huge and vibrant activities for the first BZ corporate BZs, corporate acceleration process, and all the hackathon founders and start weekends and all the activities that are happening with the foreign methodologies locally. And they are based in other countries. And Angel Ventures Mexico is a good example how they are growing with their own model inside our country in different cities, and of course outside our country with the Pacific Alliance partnership, for example. So we have a private ecosystem right now emerging in different cities. I can say we are almost to run the first financial tour with the National Development Fund. So we're planning to visit at least 15 cities that are outside these train main cities that have all the attention of the media to communicate what is really happening there, what is happening in San Luis Potosí, what is happening in Puebla. It's around to the all the manufacturing industries there. A lot of innovation is happening, and our startups are bringing new ideas to all the process, all the channel process. So we want to bring the attention to all the media and all the actors to really recognize what is happening in Coahuila, what is happening in Yucatan, what is happening in the all country. That really are bringing new talent and giving great pipeline for all the investors that we are co-investing in. So I want to underline that. I don't know if perhaps our partner is going to do something else.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adriana. And Gabriel Charles, welcome.
Yes, sorry for the delay. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Fine, fine. So, sorry, I'm here now.
No worries, no worries. We started already with some insights about the startup ecosystem in Mexico. And actually, I wanted to ask the next question to you. Thanks God you entered now. So the next question is about what are the main players in the startup ecosystem in Mexico, and where should a startup, an international startup, start in order to connect with the community? So we know Guaira has been, growing all through the region, and you have a strong presence in Mexico City as well. What are the other players in the market that can help international startups to establish in Mexico?
Well, first, I think that one of them just talked. That it's Adriana. So Adriana is, and INADEM is one of the, I think, most important pieces in the ecosystem here in Mexico. And well, the ecosystem it's growing, and it's growing very fast. So you have like obviously a lot of concentration on the main cities like Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey, but you start it start appearing more ecosystems in Tijuana, San Luis Potosí, in the south, in Mérida, in Sinaloa. So I think that there are some players there. So well, first you have like in the government part, and I will leave Adriana if she wants to complement that. They have like different points on each city where you can reach the or arrive to let's say decode the ecosystem of that part. You have accelerators and incubators that can also give you advice. In our case, as you mentioned, we have presence in 11 countries worldwide, uh, mostly in Latin America and in Europe. And part of our job is not just invest on companies that could be linked to the core business of Telefonica and with all our thesis of investment, but part of our work is as well to be a connector. So if someone will be landing here, incubators and accelerators, they will either tell you if you fit with their thesis, but if not, we will connect with the rest of the ecosystem. So I think those could be some of the connectors. You have, I guess, there is Guillermo here as well, Startup Mexico.
No, Guillermo couldn't stay today. Actually, he had something else to do today.
Okay.
It was important for him. And but yeah, Startup Mexico is one of our partners, strong partners in Mexico. So we know that there are many connectors, and you guys are doing also an awesome job, helping international startups to establish as well in Mexico, right?
Yeah, actually, well, since we have experience and the need itself to help to do soft landing of our company portfolio. Right now, Waira has, we have around 600 companies worldwide where we invest. And well, part of or one of the more attractive markets for some of them, it's Mexico. We have some experience to do some soft landing. So imagine that there's one company in Chile that their second market for their business model is Mexico. We help them with the space that we have here to connect with potential investors, to help them to understand the market, because even if they are going to the same industry, each market is very different. So well, we have some experience there, so we'll be very glad to help to any company that are coming here, either to see if we can help them, or if not, well, how to connect with the rest of the players here.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Now the next question I would like to ask it to Fabian. Fabian, how is angel investment in Mexico compared with the region and in North America? Like, how do you see is the evolving of the angel investment in Mexico? There is a more need in the market for more angels, or how do you think is in compared with the region? How strong it is?
Yeah, thank you. That's actually an interesting question. Um, Unfortunately, there is not enough education for venture capital and private equity investments here in Mexico, and the high network individuals are perhaps a little bit too much risk averse, I might say. But this is changing, and this is changing partly due to two things. The first one is because of the development of the entrepreneurial ecosystem has allowed many people to start looking around what is happening in this world of startups, the startup world. And the second is we, for example, as one of the catalysts in the industry, we have made a lot of efforts to try to
Hello, Fabian? Are you there?
I think we missed the.
Yeah, we missed the connection there with Fabian. I'm sure he's going to reconnect soon.
and
But yeah,
yeah,
Fabian?
Yeah,
Yeah,
hello,
yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah, now I can hear you. It was just a cut off a few minutes ago, a few seconds ago. So we were talking about
Oh,
angel investment. Sorry. Yeah.
oh yeah. So, for example, in Angel Ventures, we have developed a new and here we try to teach these high net worth individuals the basic tools to analyze, screen out, and potentially invest into startups. And we do this from the perspective of five main topics, which is marketing, strategy, financials, corporate governance, framework, and also the ability to mentor and to communicate between the investor and the entrepreneur. So for us, for example, we operate one of the largest angel investor network in the region, which is called AV Network. And we have more than 250 angel investors across the whole region, including some of them from the United States and Canada and as far as Argentina and Chile. And these guys have committed more than $11 million since inception in 2009 in more than 15 startups. So you're talking about a lot of companies that have received investment from people who have no idea what a startup is, what a lean canvas, for example. They didn't even know what a pre-money valuation, the meaning of a pre-money valuation. But unfortunately, we help them develop those skills, that knowledge. And with the right partners, such as INADEM, such as WIDA, such as other incubators 500, we have taken the lead in trying to teach these guys the best possible tools and experience and expertise to help them develop a really good sense of what is happening right now in the industry.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Fabian. Now, for the next question, this is a question we have done with the other countries of the Pacific Alliance, and we know, for example, Colombia is very strong in talent, Mexico as well. Chile is very strong in government supporting startups. Peru is basically starting up with all the ecosystem, and it's a really good opportunity for people to go there. Now, we would like to know what is the most valuable aspect of the startup ecosystem in Mexico, what is adding to the region right now. So we are going to put it short in a few words. What do you believe is the most valuable aspect of Mexico as ecosystem? And we are going to start with Luis. Luis, what do you think, what is the most valuable aspect about Mexico?
Sure. Well, first, you told me to set my speakers off while I was talking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I got it. I believe that one of the key issues is that we are sophisticating. What I mean is that we started trying to start business and companies mostly in the information technology area. Everybody wanted to be application, everybody wanted to be like Uber, and everybody wanted to become a millionaire in kind of seconds. But that was like 3 or 4 years ago. But then everybody started realizing that that was not possible for just about everyone. So they started exploring different alternatives, and now we have entrepreneurs who are looking into manufacturing, others are looking into agriculture or whatever. And so that's one important thing, that now it's diversifying, and that helps a lot. But because there, like Adriana was saying a minute ago, We have people that are creating companies in the southern border of Mexico, that is our border with Guatemala, thinking about agricultural businesses like those related to coffee, where we have excellent coffee, by the way, which is the one I'm taking right now. And then you have people in the northern part of the country thinking about manufacturing or about whatever other things might become to their heads, but not anymore only applications, only information technology applications. So that's one important issue. The other issue is that we are now looking into different kinds of creating companies. It's not just somebody that comes into this university or into this association forum and stresses out an idea and he tries to get some capital and that's about it. But now we are starting to think about spinning off and spinning along out of big companies, out of governmental initiatives, and other sorts of creating of entrepreneurship, and that is also helping us a lot. At least that's happening here in Guadalajara, and that's very, very successful because suddenly a lot of doors are opening, and they are opening out of big clusters like the automotive cluster in Mexico, which is growing very fastly and is needing a lot of companies to be created and to rise around them, making a sort of a small ecosystems that are really, really growing very, very fast. So those are the two issues I believe are making the difference now.
Thank you so much, Luis. Now, for the next question, sorry, to the others. We would like to know to Fabian, from Gabriel and Adriana, in a few words, how do you describe the ecosystem? I mean, what are the most valuable points of the ecosystem compared with the region? What is adding Mexico to the region? So, Fabian, in a few words, what is Mexico adding to the region?
Well, I think first of all is consumer trades. The enormous potential of the whole Mexican market is derived from its opportunistic position in a geographical, political, and economic way. So you are looking, for example, at the sixth aerospace supplier to the United States. You are looking at the leading exporter of high-tech advanced manufacturing, which accounts for 35% of the region's total trade. So you are looking at a country that has taken the lead in major economic, political, and social reforms. I think that is the example to transmit to other countries as well, and that is part of the reason why we are one of the leading sponsors of the Pacific Alliance. I think, and also I think that the consumer, the great opportunity that the Mexican consumer has for startups to try to attract them and to try to cannibalize them is huge, huge. So I would say that in a few words, I think Mexico is giving the example of how a developing country is taking the lead towards a more developed nation from an economic and social perspective.
Thank you, Fabian. Gabriel, what is that Mexico is adding to the region?
I will just use one word: talent.
Talent. Awesome. Adriana, what do you think?
Yeah, I think mainly high impact vision. We are adding to the table that we want to, support all these entrepreneurs that are thinking that they can change the world, that they can modify, all the status quo that we're living right now. And we can really create new solutions, adding value to the traditional problems that our region has, that I can scale it to the emerging economies.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adriana. Now, the next question I'd like to ask to Gabriel as well. This one is, what is the most challenging aspect for an international startup to understand about the Mexican market? What do you find that international startups try to understand about Mexico?
Okay, it's a simple question with a complex answer. So I think that looking at startups that are leveraged with internet and digital solutions, one challenge here in Mexico, and the size of the challenge is the size of the opportunity, is the way the people or the culture for consuming through internet. So e-commerce, for instance, we have around 1% of the consumption of the market is through e-commerce. If we look at the US, well, they have around 8%. If you go to Brazil, they have like 4%. So we have a gap to close there. And one of the challenges is the level of banking, the banked people here, it's not so huge, the amount of people that can pay with a credit card. So there's actually a lot of initiatives now in Mexico that are trying to close that gap. So one part is sometimes you have an online looking for something with an offline payment, or a gap or lack of elements to pay. This is one of the challenges. Another is again the culture of using internet on the average of the population. That is, we're closing that gap because of this. We are increasing a lot the penetration of internet here in Mexico. So I think there will be there's a great potential there, but some path to be closed, gap to be closed there. So payment systems and the culture of people of using digital goods.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gabriel. I think Luis wanted to add something to that answer.
Yes, I'd like to say something which is very important and most of the times impacts very toughly, I'd say, into the minds and the ideas and the plans of every entrepreneur, which is the fiscal and the taxing and the legal side of creating enterprises. That is a threat, a real threat, a big one. However, when the government helps, and precisely Adriana and Nina them are one of these institutions that are always willing to do so. But then there's also the states' governments, and there are also a lot of companies, a lot of different bureaus, professional bureaus, I'd say, that can help. Then things can work out very well. What I mean is that an international entrepreneur, someone coming from Canada or from Mexico, or whatever other country, should get help from the government offices and from professional bureaus. They must not try to make it on their own, because we are, like someone said a minute ago, it is a simple question with a very complicated answer, and this is a part of the complicated part.
Okay, thank you. Adriana, you wanted to add something to that answer?
Yeah. I want to add something that it's pretty important for an startup. It's about the timing. It seems that the timing is the key factor to take the decision where to move on or to move in. No? And Mexico, it seems at the beginning that we are slow, that we don't have early adopters, but don't forget that we are the second largest economy in the region. So if you start slow, but you can start with so much traction that the J curve is going to grow pretty hard, and you can remain there growing and scaling. And in other economies, it doesn't happen at the same level. You can, of course, emerge quickly, but you can't, and at some point, you just, stay there. You have a ceiling there, and you can grow. You need to open to the region. So Mexico can be a great place to start, not only to prove the concept for like a larger economy with all the challenge that you need to prove in a consumer industry, whatever, but also to scale for the region and to scale for North America as well. So we are we have a great location, geographical location. So we have challenge, of course, because we are really big, but we have different tables. And as Luis said, like being in charge, the National Entrepreneurship Institute, the INADEM, is in charge to really, rebrand the vision of Mexico through the public policies. So we have different tables working right now with all the actors of the ecosystem and talking about how to improve, all the legal framework for e-commerce, the legal framework for crowdfunding, for fintech, for investors, for taxing. So we have all those tables working already, taking in place, and we are really open to, do something else for soft landing, facilities, for Startup Visa. That is an agreement that we took from the Startup Nation Summit that took place the last year at Monterey. And we are, with that vision. That's why I was underlining the high impact vision. We want to really, bring new, things to this area and make Mexico remarkable, not only for tequila, sombreros, mariachis, tacos, and all food, all our, natural biodiversity. Because our talent and our potential and our size of economy and all the opportunities that you can, start here and prove it and scale it.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Adriana. That was really good, to know that there are all those opportunities, and actually it's a different market in many ways to the other markets in Latin America, exceptional because the large market that you guys have there. So now, for the next question, just shortly, Fabian, I'd like to know from your perspective, from Angels Ventures, what are the most common misconceptions you find from international investors and startups that are going to Mexico? That they believe that they are going to do something there or to find something there, and or they just believe that the market is not ready. What are the most common misconceptions to get from international perspective? Well, I think Fabian has just some problems to enter there, but we can go to the next question. And this question is actually for Adriana. And I'd like to know, Mexico, as you said, is a point of entry in Latin America and to North America as well. You guys are very well located there. And what are the current developing strategies to help a mobilization of startups in order to help them to scale? I know there is a strong value right now between the Pacific Canadian countries, but what are those strategies that you guys are planning right now?
Perfect. I'm happy to share the first initiative that we launched in 2013 with US and with North America. It's called the Mexico-US Entrepreneurship Innovation Council. And now this platform is growing to becoming the first trilateral entrepreneurship and innovation council. Okay. So with Canada. So actually we're, setting all the path and paving the road for all the startups that are coming here in Mexico to really have access to North America, like an NAFTA trade. And this platform mainly is led by the private sector. I guess is the most important thing. The government understood their role. And with this emergence of this pretty new institute, the National Entrepreneurship Institute was launched in 2013. And we understood that we don't want to replicate a market. We want to become the facilitator, the platform, where everyone can show up and have visibility and, of course, help them to scale their initiatives. So we understood that with that vision, we launched this music, I would like to say, the Mexico-US Entrepreneurship and Innovation Council. And we launching the iCluster mapping for the region so everyone can see all the opportunities that can happen in all the MICA region in North America as well. And of course, we are doing too many things with Pacific Alliance, mainly strategy. One, for all the innovation, initiatives, sharing best practices, sharing all the things that we're doing, launching a new platform to showcasing all the things that are doing, that are bringing impact and measure it, how to measure what we're doing. And of course, launching the first venture capital, seed capital fund of the region. And it's pretty amazing what is happening. When we put, all the ingredients, we also have a new pilot with Startup Mexico as well, that we look at the innovation bridge. So we are bringing 20 startups for the region. I would like to say who. Let me show. I have a chart. Can you see it?
Yeah,
Can you see?
yeah,
I just
we
want
can see it.
these companies, came from Colombia, Chile, Venezuela, Argentina, Uruguay, and of course, we are taking startups and Mexican talent to Switzerland, Peru, Brazil, and Chile as well. So we are building that kind of bridges to showcasing what all opportunities, are taking place, where the right place to be according to the business model, and of course being that facilitators that connect the opportunities, connect the talent, connect the advisory, connect the mentors, connect all the financial resources as well, not only for equity, for loans, and using new platforms, convincing the government to become, this 21st century government and taking advantage of this digital economy. So that's what we are doing and paying attention all these platforms that we can build to really, rebrand our countries, our potential, and of course, if we taking, like information, it's pretty important to document what is happening. Without information, we cannot sell the region. So that's one of the ingredients that we are almost to launch, a platform to connect all the actors, but to showcase all the information so you can, showcase what is happening and let us know what all the good news that are happening in our ecosystem that other economies want to see. Because if we want to change the perception of Mexico, mainly of where we're living in Mexico, but of the region, we need to, write new stories, tell the good things that are happening, and of course, we cannot forget all the things that we need to improve. But we're doing awesome, awesome things, and we need to tell into the world what is really happening here. So we need to put them in one place, in one platform, all the good news, create our new role models to showcase all the opportunities that can happen with North America, with the region, with TPP, with all the more than 43 countries that we are trading off.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Adriana, for sharing all those startups that are already going to Mexico in this partnership with Alianza and other countries. And we hope that we do the same thing with Canada as well at some point. And I have the final question here. And that final question is actually to help us to some international startups to go to Mexico or to go to Latin America. And that is, what's the best advice you can give to an international startup thinking and expand business in Mexico? And we are going to start with Fabian.
Yeah, thank you, Miriam. I think my best advice would be to gather a Mexican co-founder. And let me tell you why. Interestingly enough, Mexico is a really interesting country in which you can develop your startup. But unfortunately, and as any other people that are coming from another country, you really have to find some kind of fit inside the country once you start doing business. So my best advice would be to obviously land, set foot in the country, and in the meantime try to gather either a co-founder or an angel investor, an advisor, or even a country manager that has the really good abilities and really good skills, and more importantly, that knows the market in which a startup is developing and knows the financial and, like Adriana said, and the other people in this forum, the financial fiscal framework of the whole country. I think that would be my first advice. And my second advice would be to really I think of Mexico kind of like a launch pad. So if you prove your business model, if you prove your startup, you prove that you have a consumer here in Mexico, the chances are that if you're exporting this your startup to other countries from the region, you're gonna have a really good time fitting the product into these markets. Why is that? Because I think, and the vision of Angel Ventures is that we see cultural traits that are shared among these countries. And you can see it in the Pacific Alliance region. You can see it the way that the four countries are trying to unite themselves in all these frameworks to provide the best possible launchpad for startups to develop in the region. So that would be my two advices regarding people, international entrepreneurs that are willing to start or continue the growth of their startup in this country.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Fabian. Now, Luis, what are your advice for international startups expanding business in Mexico?
Okay, I would say three things. First, come to Mexico. Be sure the kind of idea that you have in mind. What I mean is, you are planning to do something related to manufacturing or agriculture or technology or whatever, and travel around the country and see our country, see what it looks like, how it feels like. Because every time that I talk to a foreigner, they always say the same thing. Mexico is a country which is plentiful, I mean, of opportunities. So come and see those opportunities by yourself, first of all. Then second, look for help from the official part, that is initiatives and institutions like INADEM itself, or, like I said before, the economic promotion offices of the governments, of the state's governments. And third, like Fabian said, look for a local partner, look for the local help, because you're going to need it for sure.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Gabriel, what is your advice for those international startups going to Mexico?
Yeah, well, first is use us, and when I mean use us is not just Wire and Telefónica Open Future Network, but all of us. I think that you are doing a great job to connect the from Canada to the region. So I totally agree with Luis and with Fabian to find someone here. But before that, we are quite open to talk with anyone that wants to decode the region and the market here in Mexico. We can spend the time that it's needed to help any company that wants to land here to understand how the things goes. So use us as a first approach to understand, and we obviously coming here is very important, but we can start just having a face-to-face virtually chat. And I think that the rest of the things will be arriving. So use the network that you are already building.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. Now the final words from Adriana. What is your advice for those international startups looking into expand business there?
Thank you. I don't want to repeat all the things that my colleagues already said. Yeah, of course, use the information that is available. We launched the National Entrepreneurship Network. It's inside our webpage, but you need to speak Spanish to really understand everything. But you have the contact with the right people, and everyone here, and all the network you also are building, it's willing to help. We have a different mindset now. Mexico has a great community that has this mindset to help. If I can help you, you can help me. Making visible all the opportunities that happen in our country. So we are more than open to help you. Reach INADEM networks, social networks. Reach us through email, to the Twitter, to the Facebook. We are really open. Everyone is really open to help you, at least with advice, or at least with a right contact. So, of course, you also can raise money. You can, have a right partners. You have a great and magnificent engineering talent around all the country. And you just need to come and see. And before that, of course, you need to see and, of course, to make a research. We are more, happy to send to you all the information, all the things that we're doing, our newsletter, our, big data, to share all the opportunities that are happening, and don't miss it. Don't miss it.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Adriana. Now, we have finalized with the questions for the webinar, and what we are going to do right now is actually to open questions from the public. And if you guys have any questions for those that are attending the webinar right now, just send us the questions to contact@latamstartup.biz. We have just a couple right now, and or to the the hashtag LatAm Startups. In the meantime, while you ask your questions, I want to remind you this month, Mexico's in the spotlight. We are going to have a white paper about Mexico, the tech sectors, and all this information we are having now in the webinar is going to be part of the white paper. And as well, we are having the annual conference in Mexico this year. Canada and Latin America are meeting up in Mexico in October. Hopefully, we are going to match up with the Semana del Emprendedor of INADEM. We hope that that happens. So some of our speakers from Canada can be joined as well, the Semana del Emprendedor. But if you're watching, just don't miss that part, because we are helping startups to scale. Now, we are going to go with the first questions that we have here. And the first one, it comes from Andrew, and he is in London, Ontario. And he wants to know, what is the current situation of crowdfunding and Bitcoin in Mexico? Is legal?
Okay. Well, crowdfunding, actually, we have a regulation right now for crowdfunding in Mexico. In Wara portfolio, in our portfolio, we have one company named Cubo Financiero. They are doing peer-to-peer lending, and they help to make this new law of crowdfunding. So part of the crowdfunding, at least the peer-to-peer lending, it's already regulated and it's legal. There are some other parts of the regulation that need to be worked with, but at least in that part, it's there's a regulation for that. I don't know, Adriana, if you want to add something.
Somebody else wants to add something to that, to Andrew, who is asking about that?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, me too. After
okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Good. Well, we also have two actually startups in the crowdfunding space, and it's kind of like a binary answer, because yes, you can virtually do crowdfunding services and businesses here and operations here in the country, but unfortunately,
we lost him again.
Yeah.
Well, let me take it,
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Adriana. I know Fabian is going to reconnect soon.
Yeah, okay. So, we're doing a very profound and deep job, helping to really support to create a crowdfunding industry in Mexico. And we are leading a pilot program with the FOMIN IDB, with the National Development Bank, with the Anáhuac University Institution, and when all the actors, of course, this association of crowdfunding in Mexico, that like a chamber, and of course, if you speak about all the frameworks that are inside the crowdfunding industry, you can do equity, you can do loans, but you have a special regulation for the offline world. Let me say that way. And of course, online you can do rewards, donation is really open, it's a private market. But we need to improve that legal framework to really support the financial aspect of the crowdfunding. So that's why we are leading this pilot, to really prove the concept, prove the market, and help all those entrepreneurs that are launching, companies through the crowdfunding industry to really have a fair play for everyone and no surprises. So that's why we are leading these initiatives, and we are happy to share all the results of this platform, of this study, to the community, because Mexico is going to become the first country to really launch a new legal framework or adapt the legal framework that already is taking place for the crowdfunding industry.
Okay, we try to complement with Fabian, that was good enough just before, and then Luis can add some of the advices as well in that factor. So Fabian, do you want to finalize what you were saying about crowdfunding?
Oh yeah, so sorry about that. The connection was lost. I just I don't know what Adana has already told you, but right now the public entities are sitting actually with these startups that are providing crowdfunding services for the industry and are trying to get into a middle point in terms of regulation-wise, so that they can provide the best tools to protect the consumer, but also enable these companies to really kickstart their operations and try to nurture the potential technologies behind the use of crowdfunding services to the market.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Fabian. Luis, do you want to complement something there?
Yes, just very briefly. Yes, it's legal in many ways, and the only thing that is absolutely necessary is to get help on the legal and the fiscal side. Again, the government is open to do so, and there are a lot of professional bureaus all around the country, and very highly trained, that can help you, Andrew, of there in London, Ontario, or anyone else in the world. So it can be done, absolutely. And like Adriana said, there's a lot still to be done, but now it can happen, and we can all help you.
Thank you, Luis. And we are going to go just with one more question because we are close to the final time. And that question is from Samantha in Vancouver, and she wants to know how much it costs to actually create a company in Mexico and how long it takes to have it legal established there. Who wants to answer first? Okay, Adriana, go ahead.
Well, yeah.
I can.
Let me share you an
It's
average.
simple and straightforward.
Oh, Fabian. Hello, Fabian?
Hello? Yeah, go ahead.
So Adriana, you were talking. Yeah.
Let me share with you two things. One, of course, we have different information available, but let me tell you in practice way and hands-on experience, and it's around 5,000 US dollars, and around 1 week, 3 weeks. It depends with who you are launching your company. But let me share you one thing. That's the average for just an ink or cork just emerging. But recently we launched with the all entrepreneurial associations in the Pacific Alliance. The Strategy Mexico was the last one to join in to the initiatives do zero cost at one day, launching their companies and set up the companies. So, and next month of September, will be available the webpage where you can set up a company in one day online with zero cost. So just wait for that. It's gonna be called let me say in Spanish, Sociedades de Acciones Simplificadas, I don't say in English, simplification, I don't say in English.
Very easy way to open a company.
No, it's gonna be like a fast track. That's gonna track. You can emerge, pre-formal and in like a corporate entity. And for launch your startup here and zero cost at one day, so finally you can have the same opportunity in the Pacific Alliance countries.
That's just perfect just before the conference that we are going to have in October. That's just perfect to know. Anybody else wants to answer something about creating companies in Mexico?
Yeah, Mira. I just want to add up some stuff that Adriana has already said, but it's relatively simple. It's outstandingly simple to incorporate a company in Mexico if you put it in perspective. For example, if you go to Latin America and Caribbean, the average time that it takes for a company to be incorporated is around 1 month. And in Mexico, it's around, like Adriana said, between 1 week, 1 and 2 weeks. That's almost exactly the same average as the OECD high-income countries. So you are looking at a really good infrastructure in terms of creating and launching your own startup. And the good news is that, like Adriana said, you are going to do it at zero cost, almost instantly. And that is going to change a lot of things, mainly from the point of view of generating more competition, more startups, but at the same time gaining and attracting more international entrepreneurs to try to get a really good chunk of the market here in Mexico.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we don't have any more time right now. We gotta go right now. But thank you so much for all those insights about the startup ecosystem in Mexico. I'm sure we are going to get more questions, and probably for those questions, you guys can help us by email or something, answering those guys that are doing it right now. So that are sending us the questions. Thank you so much to Adriana, Gabriel, Fabian, and Luis for joining us today. And please, you are going to find this webinar in YouTube in our channel. So if you did miss it, you can get all these answers right now in YouTube. Thank you so much, and we'll
just
see you.
one thing.
Yeah?
I just post some of the links of crowdfunding, different examples of crowdfunding that are operating here in Mexico. And the last link, it's a study from FOMIM from 2014. Escape of that moment. Obviously, there will be a new information in the next weeks.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Gabriel. We are going to post that as well in our channel, so people, the Andrew that were asking the question from London can actually get those links. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for joining us today. And I hope to see you all in person in October. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye now.
Nice meeting you all.